Hello, everyone, and welcome to a joint episode of the Boiling Point podcast and the Watchdog Report. I am your host, the bad guy, JD, alongside our senior West Shore School District correspondent, and you do a lot more than that, senior producer, all of the above, Mariana.
Hello, guys.
So, we're getting back into the West Shore School District coverage. That's what this was. We postponed the episode we were going to do right after the meeting because there was so much. It was such a long, slow moving meeting through most of it. And then, man, were there fireworks at the end. And that's where we're going to start with this episode. We're going to talk about the end of it first because we think it's the most important. And then we're going to talk about some of the other stuff that happened throughout. We have several clips that we're going to show you from the meeting on this episode. That is the great thing about school board meetings being public meetings. The footage is free use footage. It's not owned by the school district. Just like you could go get a copy of the minutes to see what was said, the video footage falls under the same category. So we're going to be sharing a couple of different clips. And we've been asked before we get started, obviously, anybody who follows the page, Mariana, knows what's a little bit about what's going on, right? We've been obviously bringing a lot of heat over the last week with some of the clips that we've released from the meeting. But we've received we've from more than one person, we've received messages telling us to keep doing what we're doing, continue our coverage. They want us to cover this story that we're about to cover here with this parent clips that we're about to see.
Most definitely. We will give that some coverage and other things some coverage moving forward. Just because we've been quiet doesn't mean that we are not there. We're not physically there, but trust me that we are there. Okay. But that's for a different topic. Yes. I heard about the situation with the child when I saw the video of the parents speaking. Yeah, shall we say that it was a jaw drop moment.
Yes, absolutely it was. And that's where we're gonna start with this clip. Now, this is the parents' comments at the end. Now they had already run to about 9 o'clock at this point. The meeting ran 3 hours long. And honestly, what they got accomplished was so. I guess they did discuss some things. We're going to talk about what they discussed in a little bit. Yeah, pretty much, Mariana. That's really all they did. But at the end was where the fireworks happened, and we're going to play these clips. Now, these are both the parents. They're two individual clips, each of them speaking on their own. All together in total, it's going to be about almost 6 minutes to watch both clips. So, we're going to play the full clips, both of them in their entirety right now. So, I believe this is going to be the first one, or is that going to be the first one? I think this is the first one. The mother speaks first. Do you know her name, Mariana? I can't think of it off the top of my head. Maybe we shouldn't even say
I
right.
know that their names, I know their last name is Jacobs, but I can't remember her first name.
I'll have to. But this is the Jacobs family. This is involving an incident, and I would like to point out also, the school is not denying that this incident took place. Okay, that's important. We're going to talk about what they said about it after we see these clips, and the parents talk about it during the clips. But we will also follow up afterwards. So, but let's put these clips on. Two clips, roughly about 6 minutes. Here they go.
Is that okay? Good evening. My name is Rebecca Jacobs, and I'm the parent of a child within the West Shore School District. I'm here tonight to address a serious incident involving my son at Old Trail Intermediate School. On April 14th, 2026, a staff member physically put their hands on my son and made inappropriate physical contact in front of his peers. Leading up to this incident, my son was in a classroom with this particular staff member and asked if he could use the restroom. My son does have a legal IEP in place. One of the accommodations within that IEP is unrestricted restroom access due to his diagnosis of hydronephrosis of the kidneys. Due to this medical diagnosis, my son repeatedly asked to use the restroom and was denied 7 times. Eventually, my son took it upon himself to stand up and go use the restroom on his own as it was an emergency. Upon returning for the restroom, my son saw that staff member waiting for him outside the classroom. She instructed him to walk down to the primary teacher's classroom and explain what he had done. My son complied willingly with zero aggression and zero refusal. When they entered the classroom, my son's peers were present. The staff member instructed my son to tell the teacher what he had done. Out of embarrassment and humiliation, my son became silent. The staff member again demanded that he speak. Because she did not like his response or lack of response, she took it upon herself to place hands on my child. My son then pulled his arm away and stated, "Do not touch me." The teacher said, "If you don't listen to me, I don't have to listen to you." As we all know, a child with disabilities will shut down and become silent when overwhelmed, embarrassed, or put on the spot. Any trained staff member in the public school system should understand the difference between defiance and a neurological response tied to a child's disabilities. No child should ever have to repeatedly beg to use the bathroom, especially a child with documented medical needs. The staff member involved was not placed on administrative leave and continues to work at Old Trail every single day. We've heard explanations, excuses throughout this process, but what we have not seen is meaningful accountability from the district. The situation that has taken place at one of your schools has caused significant emotional distress for our child. A school should be a place where a child feels safe, respected, and protected. We are asking that the West Shore School District reevaluates the decisions that were made following this incident, take meaningful action moving forward, and remove the staff member from the building immediately. Lastly, and in closing, I truly hope that one day, if your own child or grandchild is ever vulnerable, struggling, scared, or unable to advocate for themselves, they are shown more compassion, protection, and dignity than my son was shown that day.
So that was the first clip. That was the mother speaking about an incident, and his dad is we're gonna show that clip here in just a second. He's gonna say pretty much the same thing, but I just want to point out that, and we're gonna get to the school safety thing. That's a little bit later on. That's gonna come up a little later on, and what else happened in the meeting, especially with the clips that we're gonna be sharing. But that's how is the staff not removed or anything, right away? Isn't that a little weird?
It's not. As you know, we have been reporting for a couple years now, 2-3 years, that there are issues in the West Shore School District, not only with student violence, but situations like this with the staff. And it's something that the administration of the West Shore School District decides to turn a blind eye to it. Because listen, I'm going to keep it real with you guys, okay? The administration in the West Shore School District, they're not worried about the safety of your kids. They're not. They're not worried about the mental health of your children. They're not. They're not worried about the health of your children. They're not. Much less the education of your children. They're not. What they are worried about is that you send your children to the school, whether they're being bullied by a teacher, whether they're being bullied by another student, okay? They just want their body physically there because they want the state funding. So what the West Shore School District, the administration is after is the money. Does this surprise me? It does not. Now, what surprised me were the details because, when I first heard about it, I heard that they didn't allow a special ed child to go to the bathroom, okay, and that it escalated. I was surprised when I saw the video when mom is saying that they laid hands on her child because, Jonathan, you know me. Would it have been my child, it would have ended totally different. Totally different.
Yep. Well, I was saying that to a couple of different people. The restraint that these parents have shown, clearly they're frustrated and they want to get something done, but they haven't tried to take matters into their own hands or do something really drastic or crazy yet. So I commend them on that. And they're really trying to do something. That's why they're here at the school board meeting. So let's listen to the father's going to say, he's going to go a little bit more in depth into the incident and what happened and stuff. So let's listen to that clip and then we'll comment a little bit more here.
Good evening, and thank you for your time tonight. My name is Jeff Jacobs. My son attends Old Trail Intermediate School. He's a student who has medical, neurological, and learning disabilities, including ADHD combined type, OCD, and dysgraphia. He has an IEP in place to help him receive the free public education he is entitled to. There was an event that happened on April 14th that triggered a member of your staff to place hands on my son. My son asked to go to the bathroom, which is in his IEP under the nurse's notes section, and it says he's allowed to go as often as needed. The aide that was overseeing the classroom said, "No, you cannot go." He asked again, saying, "I really have to go." Again, he was refused the ability to leave and go to the restroom. He asked several more times and at one point tried to leave the classroom. The aide blocked the door and said, "You cannot leave." After asking a total of 7 times, he was finally able to get out without the aide's permission to be able to use the restroom. When he returned to the classroom, the aide told him, "Follow me to his homeroom teacher's classroom," which he did, complied. There is a video of him complying and following the aide down the hall to the classroom. Once in the classroom, the aide instructed my son to tell his teacher what you did. Being embarrassed that he had to leave the class without permission and to use the restroom to avoid having an accident, he did not respond. At this time, the aide grabbed my son and shook him and said, "Tell him what you did," to which my son said, "Get off of me," a normal response for someone who's being grabbed and shaken. The aide responded, "You didn't listen to me. Why should I listen to you?" The teacher took over and handled the situation from there without feeling the need to restrain my son. The school did an internal investigation and labeled this as a restraint. According to PA law, the ability to use a restraint is limited to emergencies involving clear and present danger to students or others. My son complied with the instructions to go to the classroom, was in the classroom that he was instructed to be in, was in no way attempting to harm himself or any other person. The restraint was uncalled for and illegal. The aide is still at the school. My son has to see this aide most days. They were promised that they would have no direct contact and that she would never be in charge of a class that he was in. Yet 2 days later, she was in charge of a class that he was in. We were told, "Sorry, that was our mistake. It won't happen again." We are beyond frustrated, so that is why we are here tonight. An adult grabbed my son and shook him because she was frustrated that he would not answer, because he was embarrassed about having to answer about a question going to the bathroom in front of the teachers and his peers, which were in the classroom. I'm hoping this is the first time the members of the school board have heard about this situation. If it is not the first time and you are aware of this, that would be a complete travesty and just show a lack of concern for the students at Old Trail Intermediate School. Shame on you if you allow this type of behavior to happen at the school without consequence. We are looking forward to your response to the situation. And that's all I have. Thank you.
So
Now you see, I would have taken the aide and the teacher who shook my son by the leg and shake him up in the air to see how they like it. I mean, we are talking about special ed children, okay? And Christy Spangler has come onto the boiling point many a times and have expressed the problems, okay, within the special ed department in the West Shore School District. And then, these kids have challenges that they're facing, okay? They have IEPs. In this case, the IEP was very clear, okay, as to what the condition of the child was. The child should have never had to ask 7 times to go to the bathroom. Okay, so this is totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable in so many different levels.
Yes, absolutely. Anybody who works in the school, if you're working with a student and they have an IEP, you should be aware of that. I don't care if you're an aide or a teacher or whatever you are. If a student has an IEP and you're going to be working with that student, you better be aware of what's in that IEP. And if you're not, you shouldn't be working there. And that's number one. That's the first thing the school should. How that even happened is just ridiculous. But number two, physical restraint of a child is absolutely against Pennsylvania state law. 22 PA Code Chapter 14 provides guidance on physical restraints. I'm not going to read the whole law. There's a whole bunch of subsections and everything, but the long and the short of it is the regulations state that restraints are only to be considered as a measure of last resort, only after other less restrictive measures have been used, and also the use of any prone restraints is prohibited in PA. Now, of course, they didn't restrain him to something. They grabbed his arm, constituting by definition a restraint, which is by definition, according to Pennsylvania state law, against the law. So now we have another thing in the West Shore School District, a teacher or teacher's aide this time breaking the law. We've had a school board member break the law. Now we have a teacher's aide breaking the law. So my main question is right now to the legislators and the governor of Pennsylvania is, what the hell are you doing? And where are you? And why are you asleep at the switch? If you're not aware of what's happening in some of these schools, then you need to get some better resources. You need to get some people that are keeping you advised on stuff. How has this been going on for years and still no state legislature or senator or governor has even bothered to chime in on this or even get involved. How is that even a thing?
Well, basically, because I mean, talking, you know that I'm very politically involved also within the community. And I'll tell you, a lot of it has to do. They're not going to get involved, okay? Like with the Adam Trone situation, you saw, Jonathan, that I reached out to many people, and they're not getting involved. Number one, because of the friendship. Number two, also, they have to look at their donors list, who's donating to their campaign and who's not. So they're not going to go against somebody who's donating to their campaign or somebody who they had a friendship with, okay? They may know that what they did is illegal, okay, and that I broke the law, but they're going to turn a blind eye, and that is exactly what's happening. Okay, now this thing also, another thing that people don't understand, that in Pennsylvania, okay, what that teacher did is borderline assault. And they in Pennsylvania, let's say that you and I are arguing, Jonathan, and I just point my finger at you while I am arguing at you, that is considered assault, believe it or not. Okay, that is considered assault. So I pray to God that the parents lawyer up, that the parents file a police report, okay, and maybe an order of protection because the child felt unsafe against these individuals. Because unfortunately, with the West Shore School District, and you've seen it, Jonathan, you've been with us, I mean, way too long not to realize that the only thing that makes these bunch of jokers that are on the board right now, with the exception of 3, okay, shake is lawsuits. They love lawsuits, okay? So it is time for the parents of the West Shore School District to start protecting their children. And if that means dragging these people to court, okay, filing police reports, putting it out there, do it. One thing that bothered me when I was seeing the clip, okay, was when before they began to speak, that Brian Geiswhite, who's is really a waste of breath, but anyway, their president, Geiswhite, is telling them, oh, do not give names, do not give staff names. Yeah. You cannot tell a parent not to give a name, okay? The parent is in all rights, okay, to give the name. But this is the same man that stated 2 years ago that parents cannot have the last word, okay? But no, if you're addressing, you have every right, okay, to give the name of the staff member that harmed your child.
Absolutely.
That behaved this way, to make the other parents aware of who it is. Me, I would have given the name and their shoe size. Okay, because trust me, I would have found their shoe size. I would have put it out there because, they are trying to silence the parent because they don't want to look like the buffoons that they are. The West Shore School District does not care about your kids. The West Shore School District care about their next paycheck and their next raise. Yeah, that's what the West Shore School District care about. And I can say it because I've been in the meetings and I've dealt with all these clowns, especially that waste of an administrator that they have. All he cares is about his next raise. He does not care about your child. Because there was another family, if you remember, Jonathan, the Flores, that were also complaining about abuse. Okay, nothing was done. They winded up pulling their child out of the West Shore School District, out of the public school system. And that needs to happen more often, parents. Okay, when you're dealing with a district like ours that don't care, pull them out. Pull them out. Cyber school, charter school, private school, religious school, home school, pull them out.
I can't stress that enough. Pull your kid out of West Shore School District. Do it now. Don't wait. Do it now. Don't let them have another day there. It's not good. It's not a good place for any kid to be right now. And you brought up we were talking about the attempted bribery. We haven't forgotten about it, nor have we lost the evidence. Here is the text message of the attempted bribery. Here is Adam Trone's statement admitting to it. Okay? So here you go. Right here. We have it. We have it. Reach out. You want to do something with it? You want to press charges? You want to contact your legislators? Let us know. I'll be happy to get you a copy of these screenshots because we have the evidence and it's not going anywhere. So the person sitting at the head, the president of your school board, is guilty of attempted bribery. Right here it is. The text message. This is the evidence. I'll leave it up to the screen for a second so everybody can actually, if you want to actually read through it, I'll leave it up for just a second. And then I will show you his statement admitting to this, trying to play it off or cover it up as something else. But clearly it is what it is. It's attempted bribery. So the statement admits to that he reached out and did this. He just tried to paint it as something different, but the law is quite clear. And Mariana, you were talking about the parents pulling their kids out. Yes, pull your kids out, but and I want to say that we've reached out to the Jacobs. I have reached out to the Jacobs to see if I can get them on an episode so that I can ask them some questions, let them tell their story. I'm especially interested in the conversation that happened afterwards, because at the end of their statement, they say talk to, you get to stay over and talk to the superintendent and stuff, right over there. So I'd be curious to know what that statement or what that conversation was like. And here's his statement admitting to it. But that would be my first question. If I can get the Jacobs on, I want to know what they said to them off camera, when it's not.
I can tell you what was said to them, what they say to all the parents. Oh, we're sorry that your child went this. We are supportive. We do care about your child. We're going to look into it. And that's where it's going to stay. That's what they tell all the parents, and that's where it's gonna stay. Because again, I'm not talking just to talk. Okay, I'm telling you, this administration and the school board that you have right now, the directors do not care about your kids. Let me give you another example of what happened. I had a parent reach out to me, Jonathan. Now this was maybe going on a month now. Now this will be a Cedar Cliff High School student. Okay, so. I'm not mentioning any names to respect, their privacy. We have a child. I think the child is like 17 or something like that. And they were in a joint custody situation. So some days they stay with mom, some days they stay with dad. So their mom had called the school to give a message, to the child. When school finished, I can't pick you up because mom was sick. Okay, I can't pick you up. Go over to dad and I'll pick you up. So the secretary gave the message, the teacher's name, and I'm going to put it out there. I don't care. Mrs. Frey. I think her first name is Deborah Frey, gave the message to her. So the teacher, instead of using wisdom and just giving, what I would do, give the child the message or pull the child aside. Okay, we got to call from your mom or your dad or whatever. This is what they say. Decides to embarrass the child in front of the class and tell the child, oh, what are we? Fifth graders? Okay. Where are we in kindergarten? In front of the whole class, and the class mocked the child. So the child got home embarrassed. So the parent decided to address it. I believe the name of the principal is Jennifer Post. She's a new principal. The principal could care less. The parent was asking for the teacher to be called on the rug. The teacher got smart with the mother. Okay, the mother had called the teacher, got smart with the mother over the phone. This was relayed to the principal. It was relayed to administration. They did nothing. So they don't care, guys. They don't care. They don't care if they embarrass your kids. They don't care if they humiliate your kids. They don't care if this child, what they just did to this child. All this is abuse. It is mental, emotional, abuse, and in laying hands on the child, that's against the law, and it is also considered abuse, borderline assault.
Yes.
Welcome to the West Shore School District, and if you're looking to buy property here in the West Shore School District or a home in the West Shore School District, don't do it. Buy elsewhere. But if you are and you're insisting because this is your dream house or whatever the case it may be, then do not place your child in the public school system here in the West Shore School District, because you're going to live to regret it.
Yeah, absolutely. I forgot what I was going to say there, but that's crazy that happened to that other student too. I mean, it seems like embarrassment is something that they use a lot. And that's just not right either. You know what I mean? That's just that school teachers and stuff should not be like that. So, and
there are no consequences. Because we have an administrator that don't care. He does not hold his staff accountable for anything. Like I stated, all they care about is what new benefits they're getting next year. Okay, whether they're breaking your back in taxes or not to pay it. Okay, how much of a raise he's getting. Okay, some of these teachers are asking for special medication for weight loss. Okay, whether they're going to get it next year in the plan. That's all they care about. They don't care about your child.
Yeah.
And I hate putting it that way, but it's the truth.
No, it's pretty clear at this point, right? Like what we're seeing in the behavior from some of the school board members, and we're about to get into that. I'm about to we're about I already said about the Jacobs. I did reach out to the Jacobs about being on an episode. I hope that they do come on. They're I haven't heard back from them yet. I assumed it would take them a couple of days to talk about it, consider it, and with everything going on, I completely understand that. Hopefully we can have them on, but we don't have that yet. So stay tuned, but we hope hopefully we will.
My
So
advice to the Jacobs is lawyer up, file a police report if you haven't done it so already, file a court order of protection to get that child removed from there and to make sure that these people do not work for your child again. Okay. And if you need to file a lawsuit, that's the only language that the West Shore School District understands. Lawsuit.
yeah.
Lawfare.
Yeah, and I would like to point out that I don't believe, now I'm not a lawyer myself, but I don't believe you did anything illegal, so they wouldn't be able to come back after you with any repercussions or whatever. Let's talk for a minute real quick, Mariana, before we show these next clips and we talk about some of the other school event stuff that happened during the 3-hour boring long school board meeting. And I'm just saying that the meeting itself was 3 hours. What happened with the parents and the Jacobs wasn't done until about 9:30. So you're talking about a 3.5 hour full from beginning to end meeting, even on their, and that's the other thing. If you go check out, if you watch the meetings on the site, or if you didn't watch it live, you have to know that at 9 o'clock they're cut off. Then the last 35 to 40 minutes is on a separate recording in there. So you have to look for that. All right. That's important too. The whole Jacobs family speaking is not part of the main recording of the school board meeting. It's a separate recording. So make sure you pay attention to that if you go to the West Shore School District website as well. Or you can always go to our page. I have both clips. They're strung together. I have portions of each of the clips. Go to the Boiling Point Podcast Facebook page, and you can share them out and review them at your leisure there. So, but let's talk about the comments, Mariana, that I was receiving for sharing this out, for that the podcast, and of course me myself was receiving for just sharing these parent clips out. I was astonished. I thought maybe you would get some haters, some of the regulars, but man, they came out of the woodwork, didn't they?
Oh, they do. They're loonies.
Oh, it's
They're
crazy.
Looney Tunes.
Yeah, but the first comments that caught my attention was a couple people started posting, oh, there's 3 sides to every story. And I completely understand that. And I do agree with it. Here's the problem. The school's not denying the incident. They're claiming that it's happened. So you got it from the parents, and you got it from the school board, and of course you got it from the kids. So 3 sides of the story say this happened, everybody, for all the doubters out there. And I hope some of you are tuning in. I hope some of you doubters and haters are tuning in. I know there's a few of you that like to stay up to date, and thank you for tuning in very much. I do it for you. But it's just, they were just coming out of the woodwork. People that I had never even heard of before here. And I'm going to name drop some names if you'll give me just a minute here, Mariana. I'm going to name drop some names real quick and see if I can let some people know. Oh, yes, this is my favorite person, Kimberly Beers Group. Who is that? You have a lot to say, Kimberly Beers Group.
It rings a bell.
She has a lot to say on the pages. This Kimberly Beers Group. She has a lot to say on this post that I have, and it's quite astonishing. She's claiming that I'm stirring the pot. I need to be an adult. I'm trying to bring light to a fact that a child was abused, and you have a problem with it. So maybe that's where the actual problem is, right? Kimberly Beers Group. And yes, I'm going to keep saying your name a couple more times yet. So it's it's crazy. And her stuff is it's crazy. If you're in the part of the group page, let's see what specific group is this. Let's shout out the group too, right? Mariana, Families of the West Shore School District, in which I'm a rising star, Mariana. I don't know if you knew that.
They should call the libtards of the West Shore School District, because that's what they are, the libtards of the West Shore School District. That page is disgusting. Okay. That page, any conservative that gets on that page, you're going to be attacked. They rather promote the lie than the truth. Half of them don't even know what the word truth means. And you know what's funny? I heard about the attacks, that you were being attacked. Now I haven't had time, to get online because I've been very busy lately. But what made me giggle was that Brandy sent me a link. Okay, I think I sent it to you, I'm not sure. That they're having a cow, the same people in this group, right? They're having a cow, a literal cow, because they just got rid of the dental services in the West Shore School District. Okay, so they're having a cow about this thing. This is a big thing about having a cow. So they are upset about dental services. Listen, every parent here in the West Shore School District, almost every parent, has some sort of medical insurance, and they can take their kids to their own dentist that they want. Okay, but that's the end of the world. But a child being abused,
Yeah.
does not deserve the same respect,
Yeah.
the same attention. What's more important, a child being abused, or we can't use dental services in the West Shore School District? Everybody got their own dentist. Everybody got their own insurance. Use your insurance. Take your kid to the dentist. Fill out whatever form you need to fill. Bam, problem solved. But a child being abused, that can bring repercussions in the future for that child. Okay, because you don't know what kind of trauma that child was really put through. Okay, so they're attacking you for speaking truth, for showing, for showing the dirt, the smut, the ugliness, the evilness, and the darkness in the West Shore School District, while they're crying about a toothbrush and a tube of toothpaste and a dent.
Yeah, that's where their priorities are. Everybody is in just nonsense. How is it not all hands on deck when a student is abused? That should be everybody. Everybody should be getting involved. They should have. Not to mention, even his dad. The dad said 2 days later she was put back in charge of him again. And I have news for everybody in case you don't know this. Hi, I'm JD, and I at one point in time was a kid. I was a student with special needs. So let me tell you, idiots, from experience, that everything the child's mom said in that clip is absolutely correct. Kids with special needs, when they get confronted about something, especially when it's about their condition or their disease, will absolutely shut down.
Yes.
You want to know how I know that? Because I was a kid with special needs. I'm an adult with special needs now, but I was a kid with special needs. And and I can assure you that we had our fair share of teacher aides that were not very good either. So this is not new information or news to me. These school districts hire people who don't understand and who don't want to learn. That's where the problem ends up. You don't want to learn, then you shouldn't be working there.
Correct.
It's a school. Okay. You're there to learn anyway. If you can't learn about something like that, being a teacher's aide, then get out and fire that person. It's completely ridiculous that that it even happened in the first place, but then that she was put back in charge of them. Also, I can assure you that if it would have been my mom, my stepdad, my dad, and if this would have happened to me, I assure you it would have gone down entirely differently. Okay. I assure you police and news crews would have been involved. Okay. So
as they should be.
Absolutely. This
most definitely as they should be. I mean, it makes no sense, and if you can't control a child or you can't understand the condition of a child, then this is not the profession for you.
Yeah.
This is not the profession for you. Go find another job because you're not qualified. Bottom line, you're not qualified. And how dare you lay hands on somebody else's child?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, really?
I don't ever recall having hands laid on me, but I do recall a few incidences when my parents had to get involved too, because it's just people overstepping boundaries. That's what it is. Okay. You're there to help the kid learn. You're not there to be their parent. You're not there to be their friend. Shut up and do your job.
Correct.
All right. And by the way, and teachers' aides, if you're helping a student with special needs, especially if they do have socializing skills, get out of the way, stand in the back and stay invisible. Be around when they need you, and otherwise stay in the back. And that might sound rude, but why is it just because we have a disability, we have to have a teacher or an adult always standing over our shoulder? We shouldn't.
Correct.
Stay in the back, keep your mouth shut, and help the kid learn. That's what you're there for. You're helping him to make it through his school journey. That's what you're there for.
And at the very least, JD, what should have happened with this aide and teacher, at the very least, what should have happened was they should have at least, at the minimum, been written up and that put in their file. But of course, Who cares? As long as the administration have their raise next year, okay, and have what they want, they could care less. It's not about your kids.
Yeah.
It's not about your kids. It's about their wallets.
And speaking about unprofessional and not prepared for your job and everything else, now let's move on to our next segment quick because I don't have so much time left. But I want to play a couple of these clips. This is one of the new school board members y'all voted in. Remember the election that we had? A lot of my team members put forth an amazing amount of effort to try and give all of you voters the right information so that you knew who to vote for and who didn't. This is who you voted for. Okay? His name is Dartmouth. Do you remember his first name, Mariana?
I think it's John.
Oh, please don't let it be John.
I think I'm almost sure that it is. That I think that is John.
What a shame. What a shame. But his name's Dartmouth, and he is a moron. Yes. I'm calling you out.
I knew that from day one.
I'm calling you out, Dartmouth. You're an idiot. You're a complete idiot, 100%. And we're going to find out here right now. Now, this first clip is about 1:56. It's important to watch the whole clip because you get the context. That's why some of these, not all these clips are that long. Okay. One of them is 1:56. One of them is 2:46. The rest of them are a little bit shorter, but it's important to get the context and understand what this idiot's talking about. So let's do clip one, and then we'll talk for a couple minutes and we'll try and get through these before I'm out of time. All right. This is the first one.
Situations here, use of force, custody, search and seizure. There's federal case law here. There's state case law here.
Just so everybody knows, you may need to turn the volume up in order to hear this. We will keep ourselves muted through this play.
There's going to be a whole lot more than 6 pages and a PowerPoint to convince us that this is worthy. Should the West Shore School District operate a police department is our primary question. Why? Why? Because we want to have better relations and a couple bullets? I haven't really found that there's a compelling reason. Saving money, I'm not convinced we're going to save money. I think
so. Let's
be some savings, but as we ramp up and this grows and it becomes something 3, 4, 5 years down the road, I think it's going to be, the cost isn't going to be it. That's not the matter. I think it's going to grow and it's going to become probably more costly in the future than what we're doing now, but maybe what we're doing now is more costly in the future also. Okay. But I just don't think that, do we have the level of need as a police department? Our perpetrators, we have SWAT officers, but we're not going to be conducting SWAT operations in our school district, right?
I think that's a matter of just reflecting what experience is. But if we take out any cost savings associated with this, right, and we leave SROs out of this matter at all and say there are limitations that currently exist today. We had it here in this room. We had it at sporting events where we don't normally have municipal coverage. Basketball, wrestling, they're all examples of that. We don't often have a municipal police officer at those events. Football games, yes. And there is a limitation in what our folks can do. Quite honestly, they can't do anything more than I can.
Okay, so a little bit of context for everybody real quick. They're talking about SROs. SROs are school resource officers. They are the ones that are actual police officers, but they're subcontracted from the municipalities. They're actual police officers. But that's not all that they have. They have 5 security guards. That's all they are. They're security guards. And that's what that was Adam Trone, or no, that was
the idiot.
Who else was
Dartmouth, was it?
What?
Dartmouth and Stoltz, I think we're talking.
Stoltz. Yeah, thank you, Stoltz. That's who it was, the superintendent Stoltz. The only time I've ever been on Todd Stoltz's side is during the exchange with fucking Dartmouth. Pardon my expression. This episode got TBMA. This guy gets me freaking jacked up a little bit because the level of idiocy is just astonishing to me. So in that clip, he's talking at the beginning about how do they want to be in the police business. He doesn't see the need for a police department in West Shore School District, a school district where the police are called several times a year to their schools, from the elementary school to the middle school to the high school. They don't need a school force. They just need to rely on their what they have already. Their security guards who, remember, can't do anything. because they're under the same, they fall under the same laws as the teachers and the teacher's aide. Unless there's someone about to harm themselves or others, security guards can't do anything. They can't even restrain somebody. They can't put a hand up. They're not allowed to touch them. Okay? That's why your guards are crap. That's what Stoltz is trying to tell you, Dartmouth. Your guards are crap. They
I
can't.
want to interject here.
Go ahead.
Okay, so this gives me a giggle. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you why. This shows us how out of touch Dartmouth is. He's totally out of touch. He's totally clueless. As is their other four buddies. They're totally out of touch. Okay. Now the giggle is this. If you remember, Jonathan, we have been covering the violence in the West Shore School District for a while now, and Tostos, that fire-breathing, taco-eating dragon, okay, for many occasions was saying that there is no violence in the West Shore School District, that is Mariana Reed making it up, that is Christy Spangler making it up. There is no violence in the West Shore School District, and now he's actually saying in so many words that there is. Okay, because in these Cedar Cliff football games, there's been issues of violence and fights have broken out. I was speaking to some of the kids at Cedar Cliff High School just recently, and they told me that every week there's 2 or 3 violent fights. Okay, that the kids are pretty much being told, ignore, don't talk back when they're trying to provoke you, because there's always violence in the West Shore School District, especially in Cedar Cliff High School. There's violence in the elementary school, in the intermediate school. But Tostos, okay, this you just finished. Okay, you just finished vindicating me. You just finished vindicating me. You just finished vindicating the boiling point. You just finished vindicating Christy, because for years we have been telling you in these meetings that there is violence. For years we have had parents coming and speaking to the school board about the violence in the West Shore School District, and you decided there to deny. Okay, whether it was to be contrary, or you were clueless, or have gotten so out of control because you never controlled it in the first place, then now we're not talking about security guards anymore, guys. We're talking about police, bringing police officers, okay, into these events and possibly into the school. Now, before the end of the last school year, Christy and I were speaking, okay, and we said it a couple times that we should have those metal, what is it called? Those
metal detectors.
I'm sorry? Metal detectors in the school because of weapons coming into the school. And none of this is needed. Now they're talking about bringing in, okay, the police. So, the Boiling Boing podcast, myself, Christy Spangler, and any other parent that has spoken about this, Tostos just vindicated us and just confirmed what we have been saying for years. There is violence. He has ignored it. He hasn't been able to control it. And now we find the need to involve the police. And Dartmouth, he's clueless. That lets you know how out of touch, parents, he is with the needs of your student, of your child, of your family in the schools and in this community. Okay, it's time for somebody to take his little behind off that chair and kick it out because he's clueless.
Yes. And of course, that's the typical liberal thing. Deny until the problem is so out of control that now you have to do something that maybe you didn't want to do or didn't need to do before. Now, I personally think with the West Shore School District's history, you should have it way more protected. Okay. So, and now this next clip here of Dartmouth, I have it actually, this one is labeled. Most of the clips I didn't label, but this one actually labeled explaining liability. So that means this clip is going to likely be either Todd Stoltz or somebody explaining to, or no, the solicitor. It's going to be your solicitor explaining to Dartmouth what liability is and how, when you have 7 people guarding your schools who are armed now, making them police officers doesn't affect your liability because they carry guns now as guards. So when you make them police officers more trained to carry their firearm, Dartmouth, your liability doesn't increase. So that's what this clip is. It's going to be the school solicitor. It's going to be Dartmouth talking, then the school solicitor explaining about liability.
this would authorize us to do some things that we can't do today.
Can I expand upon what I also
Sure.
said? Just another thought about, Mr. Litz, I'd like to ask you directly if you may feel, as I think that I sort of feel, but you're the legal side of this, that as a school police department, there's additional liability imposed upon that entity as such.
So just at the outset, whether we're talking about armed security guards, whether you're talking about school resource officers, whether you're talking about school police officers, there's liabilities. If you have someone with a gun assigned in the school, heaven forbid if they have to use it, you got to be worried about liability. So you have liability right now because you have armed security guards. Sure, is that liability going to be any greater because they're school police officers? Probably not. It's going to be the same individuals holding the same weapon. We're probably elevating an administrative rank to a policy.
But maybe less backed up by SROs, right? It's more that they're going to have to deal with. You're going to be trained to take care of the matters here. That's the whole idea of making this your police department.
Well, you still.
Okay, so I forgot about the end of that clip actually. So yeah, that's the solicitor explaining liability to Dartmouth, who doesn't understand that your liability doesn't increase just because you make them police officers. They're the same guys already armed, you idiot. And then the second part at the end of that clip is now you talk about it being more reliant on SROs, school resource officers. No, you idiot. Because a school police department, all you're doing is creating the department to give these people jurisdiction to do what they need to do as police officers. You're not creating a department. You're not going to have a jail cell. A court judge isn't going to come into the school and you're going to have hearings. Okay, it's not like that. You call when something major happens, as the school solicitor explains later on in that clip. I did not get that part because I don't think we needed to have him explain everything, but. When it's something illegal, like legitimate, you call in the real police. Okay. Right. And I apologize for my language, jackass, but I get testy when I'm dealing with incompetence. So
relax, JD. What's happening with him is that he's too busy reading the pornographic novels in the library of the West Shore School District, so he's not paying attention. Okay, yeah, that's what's happening with him.
It must be because I don't understand how and later on in another clip, which I don't have, but he talks about how he's a businessman and stuff. How are you a businessman and successful and you don't understand liability? Brother? How does that happen? And how do you not understand what they're saying? I understood it before even all the discussion. They want to make a police department so that your security guards who can't do anything right now can do something. You still call the police in when you need to send someone to jail if the charges warrant enough, as the solicitor said, dude. It was so astonishing to me. So let's keep moving here because I'm going to be running real short on time. But this is a clip. I got 3 or 4 more clips. I don't know if we're going to get through them all. But here, this is the next clip, and then we'll.
They're not investigating burglaries in the school. They're not doing, like you said, what they're usually dealing with is.
Going to play that clip because that clip is actually what I just went on about. It's just a school solicitor explaining to Dartmouth that when there's investigations and all that stuff, it still happens with the police department.
Correct.
That it's about giving the security guards and the people you have there already armed the appropriate recognition by the courts to be able to do more than they can do now. Okay, it's really, really not that difficult.
No, to him it is. He's clueless, people. And again, this is part of what we've been saying for the last year. Election has consequences. So, you make stupid decisions. You put stupid people, on these seats. What do you expect? What do you expect? Incompetence.
Yeah. I'm going to play this one. I have 2 more clips, but the other one's really a little bit longer. This one's only 37 seconds. So we'll do this one and then we'll see how much time we have.
I'm sorry.
I wonder if I could just add one thing. So we're talking about costs in one area, and now we're talking about other things that I think are probably more important than the costs. But at this juncture, couldn't we possibly have a conversation with our good partners at Lower Allen and Fairview and say, hey, is there a way you can help us out on the cost side? Let's talk like business people. Like maybe try it and see if there's something that we can do. Or we can shave a few dollars off and we can still be friends and continue our current relationship while we evaluate whether the SPO model fits.
Okay, so a little bit more context there. What he wants to do here, because now his businessman is kicking in. He wants to
Mm.
talk to these municipalities, and he wants to know if the police department will give them a break on costs, because our
I
police
hope they
department,
don't.
our
I
police
hope they
departments,
don't. I hope that the police department will give them the break that they're giving the taxpayers of Cumberland County, which is none.
No.
Let them pay full price
yeah.
for their stupidity.
Also, and I'd also like to point out that you're talking about, like, with football games and stuff. Like, a lot of the time, officers agree to do those is because they're taking overtime, right? So you're also paying these officers their overtime as well, you idiot. So having your own police force is about controlling the costs and not having them do overtime every time there's a football game. Maybe there's a way you could rotate it, talking as a businessman and payroll. And maybe you don't understand. I'm sorry. Maybe he doesn't understand, Mariana. So overtime is when you get paid more than your base amount because you've worked more than the allotted hours allowed by law, or at least, the way that most labor laws are, depending on how you classify it. Some people can work more at the same rate, but usually once you get over 40 hours, then you're in what's called overtime rates, which is time and a half. So then you're paying them an extra half on top of what you've already been paying them. Okay, so that doesn't help your costs. In fact, most businesses try and avoid going into overtime because the cost gets so much higher when you go into it. So by not having to pay overtime to your officers when you go to school games, and of course, as the school solicitor mentioned, basketball games, wrestling, police aren't there during those events, but problems can still arise. Whoa. Concept's crazy, I know. But anyway, so that's what you want your own police force for, so that you have what you need, where you need it, when you need it. I think it's pretty simple. And I'm not a self-proclaimed businessman. I'm building one right now. We'll see if it turns out to be successful. It's doing pretty good so far. Especially because you're going to know who our name is 5 minutes after this episode gets released. Someone's going to be tagging you, buddy. So I'm your new Lex Luthor. Get ready for that.
Maybe he should give Mrs. Kelly Brent a call. Maybe he should give Mrs. Kelly Brent a call and learn something about business. Because they let go a woman with excellent business sense to put these bunch of jokers in. Yes. Elections have consequences, folks. And that is what you're seeing.
That is absolutely what you're seeing. Now, I'm not going to play the last clip because it's a little bit long. So, and I don't want to take too much longer. Maybe I'll release it on the page. Stay following on the page. I might release all these clips of his on the page and do some commentary, text commentary with him. Because I'll tell you what, the haters at the West Shore School District love us. And they are just helping us get so much circulation. I want to thank everybody who has commented. I'll thank all the positive commenters, all the parents who have commented in those groups, coming out in support of what we are trying to do here on the Boiling Point podcast. I appreciate those more than anything. Because when you face a lot of heat and a lot of hate, it can sometimes, not often, but occasionally, it can mess with your brain. And those positive comments keep me right where I need to be. So I appreciate them very much. And it's always better to spend your time on positive comments. Don't waste your time on negativity. That's what Facebook is. Your comments, it's your currency. Don't waste it on negativity. Spend it on positivity. And to all the haters out there, I can't thank you enough, especially to the one who comments, especially all of you who comment 5, 6, 7 times, everybody who likes to refute, everybody who speaks positively, especially you, Kimberly Beers Group. You're my favorite. You're right there behind some of the other board members who are part of my fan club. I am officially placing you in my fan club, Kimberly Beers Group. And what a name. Get a life. And stop harassing people who are trying to help kids, you nut job. I told everybody who was going to be tuning into this to watch, I was going to start throwing flamethrower because that pissed me off. I'm sharing clips about parents who don't want their child abused, and I'm going to take hate for it. I will gladly stand in front of these parents and that kid to take it so that they don't have to. That I don't have a problem with. But anybody out there throwing hate at all, you're going to get bitched at and you're going to get put in your place because it's bullshit and shenanigans. Okay, it's just straight ridiculous. There's no other word for it. Your behavior is subhuman. It's not even childlike. It's demonic. It's evil.
Correct. That's the word, demonic.
yeah, it comes from a place of such hatred and negativity and evil that I don't know that there's hope for you. I'm going to pray that some of you people who are commenting negatively on all my posts actually find some positivity. Because if you're really hating on me for sharing a video, a clip of parents talking about their child being abused, you are the fucking problem.
Well, again, Jonathan, if we're gonna take a look at this at a Christian perspective, okay, we know that the Word of God says that in the last days, society is gonna go crazy, as we're saying, okay,
Yeah.
and they're gonna call good evil and evil good, and that is what we are living. I mean, they are delusional. This is a delusion that they have accepted. Okay, some of these people don't even know the definition of truth. As you can see, some of these school board meetings have become very quiet lately. Why? Because they feel that the conservative parents have gone away. In reality, we haven't. We haven't. You'll be surprised when we show back up. You're definitely going to be surprised.
Oh yeah, wait till they see the Boiling Point podcast entourage arrive into one of their public school board meetings.
They can make as many negative comments as they want. It's like case in point, Toss Stokes. He made as many negative comments that he wanted. We were lying about the violence. We were lying, and bang, zoom, bing, here we are. He is just admitting that they do have a issue with violence that obviously he was never able to control in the beginning. But parents, this falls on you. This falls on you, because if you make stupid decisions when you go to the polls and you put stupid people in positions, okay, and you don't speak up, okay, for your rights, for your constitution, for the rights of the kids, and you don't demand that they get rid of this, administrator, we're just going to have more of this, okay, and it's going to go into different levels of stupidity, different levels of evil, okay. So at this point, what are your options? Pull the kids out of the West Shore School District. Pull them out.
Yeah, pull them out.
Okay,
yeah,
because
absolutely.
we've said it, we've proved it. They're not worried about your kids.
No.
They're worried about their wallets. Okay, they're worried about their wallets. So yeah, Jonathan, you're gonna get attacked for speaking the truth. We know this. They are living in a state of delusion. Okay, all we can do is pray for them. But that doesn't mean that we're gonna stop saying the truth, because we're not.
No,
we're not. We're gonna continue to speak the truth until Jesus comes, whether they like it or not. Okay, that's what we're here for the people who want to be educated, the people who wants the truth, okay, the people that wants to know what's happening behind those curtains. We're here for them, not these bunch of clowns, okay, that are just gonna deny, okay, and cover their friends, because a lot of the people in staff and administration are friends with some of these people in this page, okay. So they're gonna try to protect their friends. But getting back to the Jacobs, yes, they need to seek legal counsel. I would. Okay. And if the West Shore School District is not, willing to even write these people up, then they need to, as parents, okay, make decisions that is going to be correct for their kids. And I would encourage them to go to the Board of Education page in Pennsylvania and file an educator's complaint against the teacher, the aide, the principal, and the superintendent. Okay, because this was not handled correctly and it is abuse. So I would encourage you to file an educator's complaint. If you need me to assist you as to where to find it, Sarah knows how to find me. She knows how to contact me, and I'll be more than happy of either downloading it, sending you the link, sending you the form. But speak up for your child, fight for your child, protect your child, because these people that we have here, the administration, they're not going to do it.
Yeah. And
they're going to blow butterflies. They're going to blow butterflies up your rear end.
Yeah.
Oh, we're sorry with this, but at the end, they're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah. And if you need to, you can always reach out to the Boiling Point podcast page. If you need to reach out to Mariana too, we can get you in touch with her as well. Or if you want to reach out to the page and talk to me. And the last thing that I'll say, I know a lot of people, I know I was getting animated in this, right? And I definitely used some foul language. I apologize for the foul language. When we're talking about kids, especially kids with special needs, you'll get me a little amped up. For all the trolls out there who actually think that maybe that they're getting under my skin or anything like that. No, you have not. You are nothing to me. And as soon as I finish this episode, I'm going to relax and go to bed with a big fat smile on my face because I've trolled you time and time again. I just trolled you for an entire episode. What are you going to do? You're going to do nothing. You're going to piss and moan, and then you're going to bend over and take it up the tailpipe. So with that, I am the bad guy, JD, alongside the host, the normal host of the Watchdog Report, Mariana, and we will be back within a couple of days or a week or so to probably talk more about this. We're not going anywhere. We're back again. Parents, get involved, and I hope that our courage gives you courage to start standing up. Come on the episode if you have a problem. If you've had a problem, come out, reach out to us. We would love to have you on an episode so that we can talk about it and give you a mic to be able to tell everybody what's been going on. And everybody else, everybody on the team, thank you for helping out and for continuing to help us continue this podcast. And until then, Mariana, is that it? We're ready to close out?
We're ready to close out, but I just want to remind the parents that just because you don't see us at the board meetings, just because you haven't seen or heard certain things, does not mean that we're ignorant as to what's happening. We are very well alert. We are very well informed. Okay, we know what's happening, and we're still here, and our eyes are upon them. Okay,
Yep.
And I will be recording, if not tonight, tomorrow night, okay, to give you some more updates about the West Shore School District, what has been happening this year, where you need to speak up, where you need to observe, okay, because we're going to keep you informed. We're going to keep you informed. And again, elections have consequences. We have elections coming up. There's a couple seats in the board that's going to be up. I will give you the seats when they're up, and we have to start looking for candidates. Parents, you need to speak up. You need to get involved, okay, because in this situation, it takes a village. It takes a group of people to be able to fight the level of evil that is currently present in the West Shore School District and sitting on those board seats, beginning with the president. Okay?
Yep.
We took his behind out of that seat once. We need to do it again.
Yep.
Permanently this time.
Yep. We absolutely need to do that.
Say.
All right. Well, then that's where we're going to wrap it up. Stay tuned to the Boiling Point Podcast. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that comment button. Check out our storefront, bonfire.com/store/the Boiling Point Podcast. Pick yourself up some apparel. This episode is brought to you by JD Designs. Go to JD Designs on Facebook. That's with a Z. And pick yourself up some cool artwork. And until next time, I am your host, JD. And this is not the end, only the beginning.